more to come. Coming up next, we've got an artist that applied to play the Philadelphia Folk Festival through our open applications. And when we're going through the applications, there's over 1,000 of them. And I get the absolute privilege of getting to watch them all and see so much talent. And when I got to Peter Lehndorff, I have to say, I was completely entranced. Everything that he did, everything that he said, all of his stories, the stories that he was telling about his life, about other lives, about his interactions, were so compelling. His words were so wonderful that I knew he had to be a part of the Philadelphia Folk Festival. And when we moved online, I was super, super happy that Peter joined us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for somebody I'm very excited to see. Peter. Woo, 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 woo!
Well, don't be discouraged when the future is not bright. And don't be discouraged when nothing turns out right. Don't be discouraged if things look bad at first. No, don't be discouraged. It's bound to get worse. Well, your pipes seem to leak a lot. Your plumber's name is Ray. Your wife calls him over whenever you're away. Your kid pulled off her braces. She wants a new tattoo. Your in-laws, they just sold their house and they're moving in with you. And they're saying, don't be discouraged when the future is not bright. And don't be discouraged when nothing turns out right. Don't be discouraged if things look bad at first. No, don't be discouraged. It's bound to get worse. Well, they're cutting back your hours at work. There's rumors going round. Everything keeps going up, yours keep going down. You're angry at the government, you voted to let them know. It turns out it was all a trick, some kind of Russian TV show. And they say, don't be discouraged when the future is not bright. Don't be discouraged when nothing turns out right. Don't be discouraged if things look bad at first. No, don't be discouraged. It's bound to get worse. Well, you saved up for vacation to go off to Italy. You ended up being quarantined with your plumber's family. Folks ask, how's it going, Pete? You always say it's just fine. Well, two can live as cheaply as one for about half the time. Two can live as cheaply as one for about half the time. And they're saying, don't be discouraged when the future is not bright. Don't be discouraged when nothing turns out right. Don't be discouraged if things look bad at first. No, don't be discouraged. It's bound to get worse. Don't be discouraged. It's bound to get worse. Thank you. So my name is Peter Lehndorff, and I'm coming to you from little town of Hamden, Massachusetts, in western Massachusetts. Back in the mid and late 90s, I had a CD out on Signature Sounds called Love on the Line. But then I decided to give up music for about 20 years while I took care of my wife. She had Huntington's disease, which is the same brain disease that Woody Guthrie had. And one night when she was in hospice, as the visiting nurse was leaving, she said, "Well, so far so good." And at first I thought it was kind of an odd thing to say about somebody in hospice, but then I realized that I was really pretty grateful for that extra time. I used to think about my bucket list. Is the glass half empty? Maybe the glass is too damn big. Woke up each morning, you were smiling at me. When I looked into your eyes, you were all I need. After every rainstorm, after that hurricane, after it snows like hell, the sun always came out again. Things are what they were, they will be what they are. People said we were going places, and we did, just not far. So far, so good, doing okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Can't complain, knock on wood, so far, so good. When we were 50, things were a little iffy. When I turned 60, I just said, oh, what the hell. Things are what they were, they will be what they are. People said we were going places, and we did, just not far. So far, so good, doing okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Can't complain, knock on wood, so far, so good. So far, so good, I'm doing okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Can't complain, knock on wood, so far, so good. Thank you. So in the little town that I live in, for a long time, the largest store was a Cumberland Farms convenience store. They're pretty common up here in New England. And when I'd go down to buy milk, when there was this young fellow working there. Whenever he was there, his girlfriend was there, and they were always dressed up like it was, the hottest date in town. So I started to think about them. I gave them names and created a little story about them. Well, Billy worked on Main Street at the little store. He just bought a little truck. It was a 4x4. Monday on his day off, he was driving down the street. He was getting hungry for something good to eat. For lunch he bought a Slurpee. He bought a Hostess pie. Then he saw her working there, was love at first sight. Heather was a pretty gal, she was tall, she was slim. He smiled at her, she smiled at him, he smiled right back again. It's a marriage of convenience, a marriage made in heaven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. Billy bought a Hostess pie almost every day. 4 or 5 weeks later, he asked her on a date. They said they might get married. They never reached second base. But Heather always kept a few condoms, just in case. They kept each other company most days of the week. Billy kept an eye on Heather, and she kept Billy on a short leash. Then one night at Billy's store while he was stocking shelves, Heather was off in the corner reading Cosmo to herself. It's a marriage of convenience. It's a marriage made in heaven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. Well, a big old rusty car pulled up. It had one headlight out. A guy came in. He walked around. He was checking Heather out. He walked up to Billy and he pulled out a gun. Well, Heather knocked him out with a frozen burrito and a sack of hot dog buns. They vowed right then and there they'd never be apart. They had their wedding party in the 7-Eleven parking lot. All their guests had Slurpees. We all had Hostess pies. And one and all we offered this toast to the groom and his new bride. It's a marriage of convenience. It's a marriage made in heaven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. It's a marriage of convenience. It's a marriage made in heaven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. Well, Billy and Heather, they run a little store. Heather had that burrito bronze that's hanging by the door. If you stop in to see them, tell him I said hi. And pick up a gallon of milk and a Hostess pie. It's a marriage of convenience. It's a marriage made in heaven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. Billy works at the Cumberland Farms and Heather at the 7-Eleven. Thank you. So this next song, I wrote this next song a couple of years after my wife had passed, and at that point I was thinking about whether I should start dating or not, and I realized I wasn't quite ready. So this song is kind of a conversation. There's a coat in the closet. There's a purse by the door. There's a box of your stuff up on the second floor. I live in the same old house. I still have your old hound. Every day he walks in to see if you're around. But I still have a sense of humor, and I still have some real good friends. I'm still easygoing, but sometimes it just depends. When I talk about the bad times, sometimes I have to laugh. Last month was your birthday. A few years now have passed. I tried to join that dating site, but I quit halfway through. They kept asking what I want. I kept describing you. I wrote, I've got a sense of humor and I've got a bunch of friends. I'm easygoing, but sometimes it just depends. We both came with lots of baggage. We unpacked it over time. Now it fits in one suitcase. What was ours is just mine. The sun came through the curtains onto your side of the bed. I was drinking my morning coffee. I remembered what you said. You said, you've got a sense of humor and you've got a bunch of friends. You're easygoing, although sometimes it just depends. You're easygoing, although sometimes it just depends. Thanks. So I want to thank the Philadelphia Folk Festival for taking the time to listen to some artists like me that don't get as much exposure as some of the other ones. I'm used to going to festivals as a volunteer, working in merch tents and things like that. So this is a special thrill to actually perform. So this song was off of that album that I mentioned. It was the title song. It's about a long distance relationship, and it seems like it fits the time now because we're all isolated. We're using Zoom to communicate and FaceTime, and a lot of us can't be in the same place at the same time. And this is called Love on the Line. Well, we have been married for a year or two. People think it's strange that I've never met you, but we were married on the telephone. So tell me that you love me after the tone. Tell me that you love me after the tone. Tell me that you love me alone. Buzz me, fax me, do it one more time, and let's put our marriage back on the line. Yeah, let's put our marriage back on the line. Well, I gave you a ring on our wedding day. You were in Chicago and I was in LA. Your dad called from the kitchen phone. My mom Zoomed from the mall. The priest called from the church. It was a conference call. Your friends logged on to Facebook. Uncle Jim had gone to bowl. We marched down our aisles to the music on hold. Your brother played the touchstones for a hymn or two. The priest got on the line and we said our I do. Tell me that you love me after the tone. Tell me that you love me alone. Buzz me, fax me. Do it one more time, and let's put our marriage back on the line. Yeah, let's put our marriage back on the line. Well, we had a great reception, if you pardon the pun. You cut the cake, babe, and FedEx me some. The honeymoon was awesome. We faxed until dawn. You faxed me on your sofa. I text you from my lawn. Tell me that you love me after the tone. Tell me that you love me alone. Buzz me, fax me. Do it one more time, and let's put our marriage back on the line. Yeah, let's put our marriage back on the line. Well, absence, they say, makes the heart grow fonder. That's why I'm here, and you're way out yonder. Now it's time to settle down and to raise a kid or two. Your doctor said for me to mail this bottle to you. Tell me that you love me after the tone. Tell me that you love me alone. Buzz me, fax me, make me go blind, and let's put our marriage back on the line. Yeah, let's put our marriage back on the line. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the festival. Again, my name is Peter Lehndorff. Thanks.
I love Peter Lehndorff. I hope you did as well. And it was very cool to see our printed graphic out behind him. Really, really appreciated that set. And Peter, really looking forward to presenting you in person sometime in the not too distant future. My name is Justin Nordell. I'm the executive director of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society, and we are the presenters of the oldest continuously run outdoor music festival in North America, the Philadelphia Folk Festival. And you're experiencing it right now thanks to our friends at Mountain View Staging and Brightline Interactive. We are able to present this global digital edition of the festival.